We're all taught a pretty basic rule in biology, right? Predators kill to survive. It's brutal, sure, but it's balanced. Hunger drives the hunt. But what happens when we actually look at the data and realize that equation is a total lie? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're uncovering the chilling reality of predators that kill not for survival, but because they actually enjoy it.
So, why kill if you aren't hungry? I want you to imagine an apex predator, literally one of the most powerful creatures on Earth, that has somehow completely separated the act of hunting from the biological need to eat. It totally upends our entire understanding of natural instinct. We're talking about highly intelligent animals engaging in behavior that, honestly, if we saw it in a human, we'd call it psychopathic.
Picture the freezing, pitch-black ocean. A seal is isolated. The attack happens. But instead of a swift, instinctual kill for food, scientists witness something deeply unsettling. The seal is alive. It's not being eaten. Instead, it's being used. The orca is treating a living, breathing creature like a toy.
80 feet. That's how high researchers have documented orcas launching these helpless seals into the air. Think about the sheer physical power required to do that. But more importantly, think about the intent. This isn't some clumsy mistake during a hunt. This is a calculated, repeated action. They wait for the seal to hit the water, and then they do it again, just for the thrill of the impact.
And this behavior builds into something even more complex, and frankly, more terrifying. Down off the coast of South Africa, scientists started finding the carcasses of great white sharks washing ashore. These legendary apex predators had been systematically hunted by pods of orcas. But here's the catch. The killer whales didn't eat them. They coordinated a pack ambush, used advanced tactics to paralyze the shark, and surgically removed a single nutrient-dense organ, the liver. Then they just let the rest of the massive carcass sink. They literally just wanted the delicacy. And look, these are not isolated freak incidents. This is a documented, deeply ingrained culture among different ocean pods. Tossing seals, relentlessly hunting baby whales, playing with their food, harvesting shark livers, and, perhaps most chillingly, capturing live prey strictly to use as a bloody chalkboard to teach their calves how to hunt. This isn't just basic instinct. It's calculated, it's coordinated, and it's cultural.
Which brings us to a pretty terrifying question. Now, you might think the deep ocean is basically an alien world, right? And maybe orcas are just a unique exception. But what if this unsettling phenomenon isn't just limited to killer whales? What if this dark side of intelligence is actually far more common than we ever wanted to believe?
Consider the dolphin. We humans absolutely love them. We see those curved mouths and think they're smiling at us. We marvel at their social complexity. But marine biologists? They know the dark reality. Dolphins have been extensively documented aggressively attacking and battering porpoises to death. And they don't eat them. They kill fish and just leave them floating there. They engage in this violent, aggressive play that ends in the death of smaller marine life purely for what appears to be entertainment. But let's bring this even closer to home. The monster in your living room. The domestic house cat. You feed them out of a can every single day, they are definitely not starving. Yet, if a mouse gets into your house, your perfectly well-fed, purring companion will instinctually hunt it, trap it, and often play with it for hours until it dies of exhaustion or injury. And then, they just walk away, leaving the body entirely untouched. The hunting instinct and that drive to play with victims remains entirely intact, even when their need for calories is exactly zero.
So, we have to ask the fundamental psychological question here. Why? Why would a predator, whether it's a massive killer whale, a smiling dolphin, or a fluffy house cat, expend the massive amount of energy required to hunt and kill without actually eating? To understand this, we kind of have to transition from biology into something resembling psychological horror. Scientists have a few theories. The first scientific explanation is called predatory drift. This theory suggests that the neurological wiring in these animals is so powerful, so deeply embedded in their DNA, that the sheer sight of a fleeing target triggers an unstoppable sequence. The brain essentially bypasses the stomach completely. The animal doesn't think, oh, I'm hungry. It simply sees movement, and the biological software program of violence just begins running automatically.
But the second explanation, well, that's where things get truly unsettling. Cognitive enrichment. This is the idea that highly intelligent predators possess brains that require complex mental stimulation. Think about it.
If you lock a smart human in an empty room, they go crazy from boredom, right? For an apex predator with an incredibly capable mind, hunting is a puzzle. When they play with their prey, they aren't just reacting, they are actively seeking mental entertainment to stave off cognitive boredom.
There is a very stark behavioral contrast here. Hunting for survival is efficient. The goal is to expend as little energy as possible for maximum calories. It's quick, it's brutal, and it's over. Hunting for stimulation, though, that is the exact opposite. It's inefficient on purpose. The attack is prolonged. The predator actually wants the experience to last because the thrill of the game is the real reward.
Researchers sometimes refer to this as the science of cruelty. When an orca tosses a seal or a dolphin batters a porpoise, they're really just checking off psychological boxes. They're practicing physical skills, they're bonding socially with their pod, they're exploring their environment out of curiosity. To us, it looks like torture, but to them, it isn't cruel. It's essential engagement.
And this engagement takes on a really dark tone when we look at how this knowledge is passed down. Adult orcas have been observed intentionally prolonging hunts, deliberately not delivering a fatal blow to a whale calf or a seal, specifically so that their young can practice. They are using live, suffering animals as training dummies. It requires an immense level of intelligence to understand that you must handicap yourself so your child can learn a tactical, coordinated behavior.
This brings us to another terrifying concept in animal behavior: surplus killing. And this expands the horror way beyond the ocean. This is when an animal is presented with an overwhelming opportunity, and it just completely loses its internal off switch. A fox gets into a chicken coop, and instead of taking one bird to eat, it massacres all 30. Wolves encounter a panicked stampede of prey in deep snow and slaughter dozens of animals, eating almost none of them. The instinct to strike is just so overwhelming that it overrides all logic. Which leaves us staring at a very uncomfortable reality. What happens when apex predators become bored? We've established they don't just act on hunger, and that they desperately need mental stimulation. So when you combine top-tier biological weaponry with a highly capable, easily bored brain, the result is a monster that actively seeks out violent interactions just to feel something. And this right here is the true danger of intelligence. We usually view intelligence as a positive, civilizing trait. But in the natural world, extreme intelligence creates a predator that thinks, plans, and communicates just like we do. It creates advanced strategy, it means they continuously learn from their mistakes, and worst of all, it means they teach their children how to be even better killers than they were. Nature lied to us. Or rather, that sanitized version of nature we all like to believe in is a lie. Survival isn't the only driver in the animal kingdom. The illusion of a purely instinctual, perfectly balanced natural world is completely shattered when you realize that the ocean's greatest predators literally have hobbies. It's a chilling realization that the capacity for unnecessary violence isn't a glitch in the system. In highly intelligent creatures, it's a feature. Maybe the scariest predators aren't the hungriest ones, but the ones intelligent enough to hunt for something more. A hungry shark is, well, predictable. Once it eats, it stops. But an intelligent predator looking for entertainment, that predator has no biological off switch. Its motivations are invisible, complex, and deeply terrifying, primarily because they mirror our own darker impulses. And so, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, unresolved thought. Does intelligence naturally create cruelty? As a brain becomes more complex, as an animal becomes more self-aware and capable of boredom, is the natural byproduct a tendency toward unnecessary violence? Are we, as humans, the exception to the rule? Or are we just the apex predator that got the most bored of all? Keep questioning everything.